Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are and whatever time you see this video. We have a special guest from UK, Mr. Yemi Awolola, and he's running for Parliamentary in UK from Christian Faith parties. So, welcome to the show, Mr. Amy. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for me.
Very good. We would like to know a little more about you. I mean, your career, and then so are you from UK, or are you born in UK? So if you can tell a little bit more about yourself, would be great, please.
Yeah. My I've got a Nigerian dad and a Jamaican mom. They had met in the UK. Yeah, where I was born. Then my dad then decided that we need to move to Nigeria so we can know where we're from. So I was in Nigeria for 16 years before I came to the UK. In the UK here, I'm a qualified plumber. I run a
Your
football club.
voice is breaking up. I mean, your voice is not clear. I mean, I can understand, but I mean, it is not clear.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
what about now?
it's a little better. Yes.
Okay. So do you want to say that again? Or is that
Yes,
okay?
please. Yes, if you can repeat from the beginning, that will be great, please.
So I've got a Nigerian dad and a Jamaican mom. They met in the UK here, where I was born. And my dad decided that he wanted to know where he's from. So we moved to Nigeria. I was in Nigeria for 16 years before we moved to the UK. Now in the UK here, I'm qualified plumber. Also run a local football club, Reading here. The last election, I stood for the Christian Party because I think that the country's moved too far away from God. We need to bring it back.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, so what are the agenda? Like, I mean, what is the issues you're running on?
Well, in the last election, we had five main issues, but we focused on two, and the two of them, the two major ones was family, support for the family, marriage, and women that had children. The other one was to stop abortion. In the UK, every year we have 220,000 abortions, and we just thought out just 2 months. We need to do something. Those two topics didn't go down too well because in the UK, the country trying to see itself as being liberal, too liberal. Well, in the process of being liberal, we move too far away from God. And the further away from God you are, the less important people are. That's what we want to put people in the center.
Sorry, your voice is, I mean, there's a distortion of either the internet connection, or is it, I mean, Naresh, do you want to check that, or? Okay, so we'll start from the beginning. Okay. Yeah, I mean, request you to tell us the agenda, like, I mean, the issues you're running on, please.
Uh, with Christian Fathers Alliance, we're running with support for the family. So we're supporting people to get married and to have children, because we believe that healthy family, a healthy nation. And our definition of family is a man and a wife, and his wife married with children. That's a definition. And the second one was we're trying to put a stop. We're trying to reduce the amount of abortions we have and eventually stop it. So those are the main two things that the party stands for.
These are the main two things with the party stands for, and then you're running on these two. So you're running family, supporting the families, and also the stopping the abortions in the UK, which is okay. That's good. So I mean, so what do you think of the other? I know a little controversial. I mean, what do you think of the LGBT community and those communities? I mean, so do you guys accept or consider, or what's your stand on that?
Well, it's it's funny you should mention the LGBT because during the last election we had an American company. American company had a fast food outlet, so they decide they want to try one in London, in the UK. So they chose Reading. As soon as the company opened, we had the LGBT protesting that they want the company to close because the owner of the company in 2012 said it doesn't support same-sex marriage. So because of that, they protested, and the shopping center that lists out the shop to this group decided that because of the protest, when the 6 months is over, they will not renew the lease. And I thought that was wrong. So I don't mind people protesting, but you can't protest to a point where you want a company to shut down completely, and all the UK or citizens that they've employed will then go jobless because you're holding on to an agenda. So I stood against that, and there were 6 candidates in that election. The other 5 disagreed with me. In some of the papers, I was considered to be homophobic because I stood against the LGBT, but it's not about the LGBT agenda. This is about economics. We are in a place where we need more companies, we need more shops to open. What we can't afford to do is, because we don't like the owner of one company, we then decide, no, we don't want that company in the country. And we can't do that. So I understand the LGBT have got their own agenda, but at the same time, we want to create a community where people are inclusive. So just because I don't like you or what you say doesn't mean I have to shut you down. I have to find a way to live alongside you in a way where you operate and do what you want to do, but at the same time, you have to allow me to operate and do what I want to do. But at the moment, we don't have that with the LGBT. The LGBT want their agenda, and they want everyone to accept that, but they're not willing to accept contrary agendas. And that seems to be the conflict.
Gotcha.
Well, personally, I don't have anything against LGBT, but it's just like, you want to be accepted, then you've got to be accommodating. And that's my stand.
Gotcha. That's I mean, we got your views on that particular point. And today the whole world is in the grips of the COVID-19, and also UK was little bit of a challenge in the beginning. So I mean, we have more cases, more spreading, and spread of the virus was little more in UK, and also the deaths were more in UK. So how is it now overall in UK?
Well, initially the government response was very slow, because when other countries were shutting their borders, we didn't do anything. Plus, before COVID-19, the government had this austerity measure where they closed some hospitals because they wanted to create a super clinic. So that affected the way we dealt with COVID-19 as well. Because now, when COVID-19 came along, all of a sudden we realized we didn't have the hospital space, or we didn't have enough medical staff. So then we have to start creating new hospitals to accommodate what's going on. Now that we've gone to 3 months and the government's put in all these measures in place, like social distancing and wearing of masks, we've seen a decrease. But now what the government is worried about is that there might be a second wave. And so now they've created what they call local isolation. So if one town is got a high number, then in that one region, you have a lockdown. that affects everyone just in that region, so it doesn't spread. Which sounds like a sensible thing to do.
I got you. I mean, yeah, it's a little. I mean, not only UK. I mean, many places in the world nowadays. Now it's not able to. Handle it, and then they are working on it still. That it's a work in progress. So we cannot. Only very few countries were able to contain it to some extent to a decent level. Not everybody was able to control it or manage this particular pandemic the way people are expecting or wanted. So what do you think? I mean, in the future, I mean, like a few more months. I mean, when do you think this will come out? Whole thing will come out of to the normal or new normal? Any idea on that?
Well, my
Okay,
prayer
it's
is
not your job. I know
get
it's
to.
not your domain. I mean, just out of curiosity, I was asking you any views on those this thing. That's it. Okay.
Well, obviously, nobody wants COVID-19. It doesn't do anybody any good. So my prayer is that we get to the end of this and life can go back to normal, whatever normal is. What we don't want, a lot of people died already. We don't need anyone else to die.
That's true. Yeah,
So
I got
now,
you.
it's the better.
Gotcha. We understand. So the COVID-19 has another issue today. Like, I mean, you have the jobs are even in normal. I mean, even before COVID-19, things were going a little slow, and not that. I mean, the economic curve was going down a little bit, and with the COVID-19, and as kind of it has expedited the process of slowing down of the economy, and the number of jobs in the restaurants is gone, the retail is gone, many of the small businesses are gone. So, what do you think? I mean, you would like to propose or like suggest if you are elected to the parliament? I mean, how do you want to help or revive the economy or jobs in the UK?
Well, with the economy, well, unfortunately, nothing. There's no easy fix. Things are going to take time. The government's put in place some loans to go to start the company to recover. We know the unemployment is going to go up because companies are going to close. There's going to be some more companies that are going to close later on. There's the cinemas haven't opened yet, and the churches have not opened yet. So that's still to come. The approach now is we have to be clever in the way that we do the economy so that we don't end up losing in the long run. I heard someone say that it will take the country about 5 years to recover because of all that's happened. Well, I'm hoping it's going to be shorter than that. Well, with the loans been given to companies, especially small companies, they'll be able to create some employment. So we'll have some of those people that have lost their jobs to at least have some job. So there are a few things you can do, but there's no easy fix and there's no quick fix. It's going to take time.
Not true. Okay.
I think in the coming months we'll get to know the real impact of COVID-19
On the economy and all those things. I agree. I got you. Okay, let's hope. At the same time, we have another social issue has started in the US right now, and it's also going all over the other countries too, like the Black Lives Matter movement. So, what is your view, and what is your take, and what is it in the UK? I mean, here is there. I mean, almost it started in Minneapolis and went to New York and Portland, Oregon, Seattle, and it's been like kind of a wildfire. I mean, it's caught up in many places in the US and also other places in the world too. So, what's your view, and what do you think of that?
Coming to the Black Lives Matter, there is two aspects of Black Lives Matter that I want people to understand. It's the movement is good. I think we've got to a point where enough is enough. Because the way I see it is all this system and the structure we've got in place is put in place to keep one community down and everybody just assumed, okay, that's okay. But the beauty of this movement is it's brought at least the discussion to the forefront that now we can address the inequalities and injustice that's been going on for years. So that's the movement. Then there's the Black Lives Matter, the organization. Now, personally, I've got issues with the organization because the organization itself does not promote what we stand for. It does not, from a Christian standpoint, it doesn't promote a marriage with a father and a mother. It's more of, there's an obsession with transgender and LGBT. And that is not a problem. That is not a problem in the black community. That's not a problem. We want justice, equal level playing field. So the organization itself, I've got a problem with, but the movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, that is one that I wholeheartedly embrace, because now we can talk about something that's affected us for years that no one wants to talk about, but now we can talk about it and hopefully we can find a solution. So the protest is great.
Gotcha. Okay, that's our overview. And another topic, I'm switching from this one to the other one. I mean, the Brexit is another hot topic in the UK. So what is your view and opinion on the Brexit? Like, I mean, is it a good one, or is it like, I mean, what exactly the Brexit is, and how is it going to be helpful for UK?
I support Brexit. I think Brexit is a good idea. But I didn't like the way that we've dealt with Brexit. What I would have preferred was when we leave the EU, that we then focus on the Commonwealth, because there's more Commonwealth countries, and most of the Commonwealth countries are the countries that the UK have colonized in the past. So we can say most of the wealth that we enjoy in this country now has come from the Commonwealth countries. So Brexit gives us a unique opportunity to do trade with Commonwealth countries and try to make those countries better. The better in the way that we have more facilities, more infrastructures, we'll be able to give more grants and more loans to these countries, so we can see the country. And we know in most Commonwealth countries, the number one issue is corruption. So if we're working with these countries, we can actually help to elevate, rise above corruption, and it's reduce corruption to a level where that will impact and improve the life of the local people. So that's what, for me, I thought Brexit, if we do Brexit properly and the right way, it gives us opportunity to divert all our attention from the EU to the Commonwealth country. Because the UK is the head of the Commonwealth, and that would just be so befitting to do that. But I think I voted for Brexit to happen so we can leave the EU, but the government has not gone down the route that I would have expected them to go down, because the Commonwealth country is still there.
Gotcha. Okay. So I mean, at the same time, I mean, in the EU, you had an option for the UK citizen to go to the other countries and work there too. So I mean, don't they lose the opportunity to go out and?
Wait a second. Let me shut this window so I can hear you properly. Go with.
Do you think, I mean, in EU, I mean, if the countries are part of the EU, their citizens can go out and they can do the free trade among them. So those kind of benefits, I mean, were there. So are we, when you take the Brexit, I mean, don't you lose those opportunities? So do you weigh between those opportunities and the opportunities what UK has? So how do you compare to them?
But when the whole concept of Brexit was put forward, for whatever reason, there's always going to be winners and losers.
Mm-hmm.
So what we need to do now is the people voted, and they voted for us to leave the EU. So that is non-negotiable, because we can't give people a choice and then say, oh, by the way, we don't like your choice. It doesn't work that way. So what we need to do is, while we focus on, okay, with EU, we're going to leave EU, we need to put in place a deal where we can still do some business with EU, because EU is our closest ally and neighbors. So we have to have some agreement where we can do business with the EU, but obviously we voted to leave the EU, so we have to leave. But at the same time, it gives us new opportunity and new way of doing business that we have never thought of in the past few years, because we're part of the EU. So in our negotiation agreement, yes, it's going to cost us money, but there will be winners and losers. There will be some things that we won't have access to anymore, but at the same time, there's still some things that we'll have access to.
Gotcha. That's a good view. And another thing is, I've seen on your Twitter and your other social media websites, you've been talking about 5G, also another topic in UK. So can you can you elaborate a little more about your views on the 5G and what is the controversy around that?
Well, with 5G, okay, but for me personally, I think the way 5G has been sold to us is, I'm totally against it, because 5G is a military weaponized equipment. It's not something that you want close by, in close proximity to where people live. Now, but for 5G to work, it can't be too far away. So which means right in the midst of where people live, you're going to have 5G towers all over the place. And if you look at all the research that's been done, in places where 5G is in close proximity to people have developed a whole list of symptoms, even leading up to that. But the science or scientists behind 5G are so happy to ignore all those concerns just so that we can have faster broadband or a speed that most of us don't really need. So what I would like to see is that the health of the people are taken on board. Yes, there's a lot of money in 5G, and I get that. But what about the health concerns, the issues that people are going to face, the symptoms that we've never even heard of? What's going to happen to all that? So that is the big controversy about the 5G. And to make it worse, while we're in lockdown, all these 5G towers showed up all over the place. So it's like, why are we putting everything in place when we're in lockdown? If we really think 5G is good for all of us, then let's put up this tower when people are out and about. Let's give us the right to protest. And then hear the other side of the argument that no one's saying at the moment.
Gotcha. I got your perspective and the views on that particular topic, and something related to this. And same time, I mean, regarding the another country, I think UK has taken the Huawei company from China out of the 5G race, and also people are against the China. So, what is your view on this particular company and also the China in this after the COVID-19 scenario in the world?
Well, okay, the company or the country that runs 5G, that's one thing, which the government has to decide who they want to give it to, because at the end of the day, whoever is running your 5G will have access to all the country's information. And so the government's got to make a wise decision when considering the contract who is given to. But on the other side, 5G still remains this super smart health risk side effect that we don't really know what's going to happen right now because it's new compared to in 10 years' time. So there's two aspects. There's the aspect of who gets the 5G, who runs it, which the government has to decide, and they can have whichever criteria they want. I'm not too bothered whether it's an American or China or it's done locally, but what concerns me the most is the health risk and the impact that 5G is going to have on our daily lives. That's a bigger concern compared to who runs it.
Gotcha.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, so how about the country? Now, many countries, especially UK, also voiced some angry against the China. So, what's your view on this current? I know everybody is a little upset, but I mean, so is that really genuine concern against the China? It's aggression, or it's the way the things are happening, or it's doing in their business in the world.
But to be honest with you, I think it's a bit unfair picking on China, because all the things that we've accused China of in the past is what we're doing now. When it comes to the way China treats its citizens, to even all our recycled rubbish from here are all exported to China. So China is doing something good on one end, but now we've come to a point where we don't even have freedom of speech anymore. If you put anything on social media, anything that is against COVID-19 or against 5G, it will be blocked. And those are the same things that we've been accusing China of for a long time. Now we're doing it over here. So I don't think it's fair to pick on China, because we're doing exactly what China's been doing for a long time. So we need to get our act together first before we can start pointing fingers.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we need to do some stupid.
No, sir, go ahead. Please go ahead.
In a way to divert the attention from what's going on at home, so we can blame someone else.
Gotcha. Okay. So, what is the other? I mean, there are even in UK, even today, there are a few issues like inequality among the different races, but also the inequality in the pay for the women and men. So, there's another topic too. So, what do you think of the inequality for the women in UK?
Well, the UK has got a long history of inequalities, and this goes way back. Women is one thing, because we have a situation where a woman and a man doing the same job title, the same job, same company, and sometimes the man is getting paid 3 times more than the woman. And this has been going on for years. Some companies are making changes to try and bridge that gap. So that's one thing. Then there's the injustice of the criminal justice system itself, where you'll have a situation where one race group would commit an offense and they get like a community sentence. Another race group do exactly the same thing and they get prison terms. And that's been going on for a long time as well. Then you got the police brutality as well. So you get 2 people from 2 different race groups. One is treated nicely, the other one is treated as if they're criminals straight away. And they've done exactly the same thing. So these are issues that have been going on for years. My parents came to this country in 1962. And all the things they were fighting for then are still the same thing we are fighting for now. So not a lot has changed in over 60 odd years. So those are our main concern. The way we treat people within our country for the same offense, but the outcome is different.
Gotcha.
That's why, and there's a lot more that I can talk about. We haven't got enough time to go into all that.
But see, at the same time, if you look at the politicians in the UK now, a lot of minorities are also able to make into the offices in the UK. Let it be, I mean, Asians or African UK people, or even other religions also were able to make into the offices. So one side we are talking about the inequality, but the other side I see more people coming into the offices too. So how do you see view this particular situation right now? Is it still? Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because what the government has done very cleverly, they've put all the minority group into one pot they call the BAME, and the Black Minority Ethnic Groups. But if you look at the government itself, the UK government minister, there's not one single black person there. They've got 2 Asians not single black. But when you challenge the government that, hold on, you haven't got your government is not representative of the people. I say, well, but we've got these two people from the BAME, but that does not paint a whole picture. If you look at black people in this country, make up 3.5% of the population. The only establishment where we make up more percentage than anyone else is in prison. The more per capita, the more black people in prison than in government. Because in the government ministers, there's not one single black person. So on the one hand, they're addressing the issue, but they're not addressing the issue to create a level playing field. So by putting all the Asian, black, Chinese into one group they call the BAME, they've not actually addressed the black issue. It's favored other groups, but yes, actually favor the black people. So that is another injustice.
Gotcha. I got you. Okay. Thank you. So, do you have any other topic to cover or any other point you want to say or express?
Yeah. The Christian People's Alliance, we also are looking at how we can make tax fair, because at the moment we have companies that make millions in the UK but don't pay tax at all, and they get away with that. Then we get small companies that operate in the UK, they don't make a lot of profit. If they don't pay their tax, the government is on the case. But we can generate more money from big companies than we can do from small companies. So what we are proposing to do is for all the companies that operate in the UK and make profit in the UK, we will have a turnover tax of between 5 and 7%. Because at the moment what we've got is some companies, because they're multinational, they make profit in the UK and they send it abroad. And so they don't pay tax at all. But if what we're proposing comes into play, then if you make a profit in this country, you pay, at least if you don't pay corporation tax, you pay a turnover tax between 5 and 7%. And if you look at 5 or 7% of 600 million, that's a lot of money.
That's true.
So every company that operates in this country will pay some level of tax. And at the same time, we're also looking at how we can help vulnerable members of society. Because at the moment, if someone goes to prison and they come out, it goes on the record that they've gone to prison. So that then does not help when they need a job, because they have to declare. And once you declare that you've gone to prison, then most employers want to employ you. So we want to put something in place where we can help people that go to prison and come back. They've done their time in prison, they've come out of prison. We want to be able to bring them back into society in a way that's going to be non-judgmental. And then the same thing goes for some families. As soon as a woman becomes pregnant, it's seen as a shame on the family. So the woman can be disowned. So, and then the only option that woman has got is an abortion. What we want to do is have a safe place where if any woman goes through any of those problems where abortion will have been the only option, we want to give them other options where we can look after them until the baby is born. And if they don't want that baby, we can then put the baby up for adoption to a family that wants the child. So that's one thing. And then we want to then fight crime itself. So those are a few things that we want to put in place that other political parties at the moment are not doing. Because there's no point being a different party and do exactly what everyone else is doing. But we want a policy that's based on people, that actually makes an impact in people's lives, and people can feel that difference. And that is the big difference, because you can't be a Christian and not be concerned about people. It's practically impossible. So we want to put God at the center, and if we put God at the center, then we have to look at people. And that's the biggest difference that we go with other parties. A people-centered policy.
Gotcha. Very nice. I mean, thank you very much for your views and the perspectives and about this thing. And do you want to say, if anybody wants to know more about you, where they can go? Do you have a website or a Twitter, Facebook? If you can say that one to the our audience, please. And also,
we got a website. we've got a website, the cpaparty.net, and then the CPA is also on the internet. We are on Facebook, the Twitter account. So if you just Google in the Christian Parties Alliance or the Christian People's Alliance on Google, that will come up. But for more information, is the cpaparty.net.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Sorry, go ahead.
Once the lockdown is over, we'll be doing road show because we're going to churches so that people can know that we're there and this is what we stand for. So there's all that to come as well.
Very nice, and thank you very much for coming on the show and sharing your views and the perspectives, and we wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, have a nice rest of the evening. Thank you, sir.